I was laughing, chuckling at Taufik's picture because I thought that was actually him live sitting there, Taufik, but it's a picture of you just sitting there. You fooled me. Laughing, chuckling at Taufik's picture because I thought that was actually him live sitting there, Taufik, but it's a picture of you just sitting there. You fooled me. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, I'm muted. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to start, and 7 people are watching us on YouTube now, and I hope in next minutes people are going to join. So with your permission, I would like to share my screen and start to do just, I'm just going to do my introduction part, and then people will join. So be so kind as to accept people, Sarah. I don't know how to activate, automatically access. I mean, interest of people after some improvement in Zoom. So I hope people are coming. So please be so kind as to accept. So I hope my screen is visible now. And also, let me check for the last time that we are lively, streaming on YouTube. Yes, everything is okay. Yes, now I'm just going to start. So, hello everyone, and welcome to today's Azerbaijan Data and AI Community Meetup. My name is Ilkar Zarbaliev, and I'm delighted to be your host for this session. Today's topic is Copilot agents in action, and we will explore how Microsoft Copilot is evolving through intelligent agents, Agent Builder, and Copilot Notebooks. Thank you all for taking the time to join us, whether you are a Power BI professional, developer, data enthusiast, or simply curious about AI. I believe you will find today's session both informative and practical. Let's get started. So I hope in next minutes, Sarah will give the necessary information about this session. But briefly, what I would like to tell you once again that we will explore pre-built agents. I hope our speaker and we will understand how they can help automate tasks and enhance productivity. And it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker, Sarah Kong. Sarah began her IT career in 1995 and okay, sorry. Um, yes, and she has been a Microsoft certified trainer since 2001. She is currently a Microsoft technical trainer and Microsoft certified trainer community lead. I hope she will be giving necessary information about herself in next minutes. Please join me in welcoming Sarah Kong. A little bit about our upcoming speakers. I included myself also. So I'm just going to host sessions where Anna Bardiuk from Canada, Olena Borzenko from Germany are going to be our speakers. And before we continue, a little bit about our meetup guidelines. Please be so kind as just mute yourself, um, mute your microphones. We have Q&A section at the end, but you can type your questions throughout the session in chat. So I will address all these questions to our lovely speaker. And just kindly note that this session is lively streaming on my YouTube channel and will be available to sharing to other people, to other members of my meetup group. And a little bit about the session schedule. The first 5 minutes that I'm doing right now is all about introduction. Then our speaker will have her presentation that is planned to last for 30 or maybe 35, 40 minutes. And at the end of the session, we are going to have our Q&A session. The overall duration is roughly something, 45, 50 minutes, right? And taking it an opportunity, I would like to actually, before handing over to Sarah, I would like to share information about 60 Days of Data and AI Initiative. I'm very happy that my meetup group also is hosting uh, actually is acting like study groups where I'm talking about PL300, Power BI Data Analysis Straight Exam. So be so kind as to explore our meetup group where you can find all the necessary information about the session that I'm hosting. Also, you can find info about our sessions. So I kindly ask you to explore this one, and you can just type ata.ms/database and you'll find all the necessary information, or you can just scan this QR code. Also, another exciting opportunity for our community is the Database World Championship. So you can join to this contest. And the final is going to be in-person event in Barcelona at the end of September and uh, beginning of October. So you can join, and maybe the next, say, upcoming champion is here. We'll watch him in upcoming, months in final stage. So I would like to thank you and ask you to stay connected. If you would like to be speaker for upcoming sessions, you can write me using ilgars@gmail.com email address, or you can contact me via this, email address. I mean, phone number. So here I would like to stop sharing my screen, and I would like to hand over my, stage to our speaker, Sarah Kong. So Sarah, stage is yours. You can prayer and go on. Thank you. Good luck.
I like how you said good luck. I can't share my screen now. It still sees you shared. Let me see if I can advance
Uh,
sharing options. I can share,
I
close.
have
Let
stopped
me,
sharing.
okay. Okay, I'm good. Hold on. It's okay. I got it. Let's do entire screen and we'll find my screen. Oh, see, being a Microsoft employee, I'm so used to Teams and not Zoom. And it's funny because I used to work for Learning Partner and we use Zoom all the time. And then I started working for Microsoft. Anyway, welcome everybody. Let me know. You could just throw in the chat. I hope you should see my screen now and see me and hear me. So hopefully everything is working fine. This is a quick session, you know, well, first of all, yeah, thank you, Ilgar, for introducing me. And yes, I am a Microsoft certified trainer, and I have been for many years, almost 26 years now. And I do work for Microsoft as a Microsoft trainer, delivering many courses, but focusing on Copilot and AI as Microsoft is doing so. So one of the things that I love to teach about Copilot that many are not aware of is notebooks, which I'm going to save to the end. So I'm saving the best to the last. But one of the things that I like to talk about is when we think about Copilot, Copilot has essentially two ways that you can connect to it. There's what we call the personal, or even if you think about it, it's a no license Copilot, or there's the Microsoft 365 licensed version of Copilot. And with the Microsoft 365 licensed version of Copilot, what you get out of that is you'll get something called Work IQ, which is essentially the ability to, that's supposed to be a Q there. It's essentially the ability to be able to work with your Microsoft 365 content. So what it'll allow you to do is when you're requesting or running a prompt in Copilot, it can search within your Outlook, your SharePoint, Teams, which I love the way it can do that, and any of your work uh, sort of content that you have access to, and then Copilot will have access to. So the way you can tell the difference is in here. You'll notice down in here, there is where we can see the person signed in. And a lot of ways you can tell if you don't have a current license and you're not working with like the full Microsoft 365 is up here, right here. You can see that there is no work or web or, the work IQ. You don't see any of that there. So that tells you that this Diego right now, so Diego, he still has the ability to chat, right? And that can be kind of like what we call like a personal or non-licensed version, but he also still has the ability to do an agent, which I'll show you shortly. And then if you do have a license, what you'll see in here, let me minimize this, get rid of that. Whoops. Is you'll notice in here that the person has a license, right? The premium license. You'll also notice that up here, I will also have, the work and web capabilities in here. So the work is nice because that allows me to be able to be able to search my Outlook, my SharePoint, my Teams, and query all of that information. And then if I select this one, then the web, what that allows me to do is do sort of like internet queries. Right? So I can go in and I can query the internet and say, do searches for that. Great if you're doing a lot of, if you're doing research, right? If you're doing research that's not within your company, this is where I really like the ability to be able to switch to the web. The other one is over here, we have our agents. And so some of the agents you'll see are like, are like researcher, the analyst, prompt coach. So when we think about agents, there's actually 4 types of agents. The first one is what I like to call, and what we call, the pre-built agents. These pre-built agents do require a license. And so what these pre-built agents will be is you're going to get ones like researcher, my favorite. But actually, my real favorite is the prompt coach. I love that one. The prompt coach is so useful for anything. And what I mean by that is like for any prompts that you want to create, use the prompt coach. You got things like analysts, and the list goes on. The other one is something called Agent Builder, and I'll demonstrate this one in a second. Agent Builder is great for creating, simple. I guess when you think about agents, they think of them as a way to do specialized tasks. Specialized, if I can spell. So a specialized task, and even, a series of tasks. Right? So you can do multiple tasks into a single agent. The third way that you can create agent is something called Copilot Studio, which I definitely do not have time in this session to show you. Copilot Studio is its own app, and Copilot Studio is great. It does require a license. Right? So this is the only one that does no license. FYI, if you're wondering. This is the only one that doesn't require a license. But now in here, you can see Copilot Studio. You can use that, and it has its own app, right? I put that there. But what this one does is this one's really great for creating things like a real estate agent. So if I want an agent, I can create this real estate agent that can essentially, if I want to book a showing, I can open up this agent and say, I want to go see this house or basically create a filter and say, I want a house with 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, needs to be located here. And then the agent can give back a bunch of listings. And then you can continue with the agent and say, I would like to book a showing. And then the agent would say, well, when would you like to book that showing? And so essentially what you're doing here is it's not like a bot, because remember, bots aren't generative, so they can't think outside of, what they've been told to say. But whereas an agent, it's generative, so it's generating responses based on the questions the users have. So a lot more intelligent than a bot. And then the last one is Foundry. And Foundry is where, sky's the limit, really. And that one does require a license, and it does require Python coding. So this one is full code, right? So you need to know how to code to create agent. This one is no to low code. And then this one, which I'm going to show right now, is no code. Oops, can't even spell. Right? So you don't need any code to do this. And I'm going to give you an example of how, because when you create agents, to me, there's different stages. There's like, well, if I think about it, there's probably 3 stages to creating an agent. And here, let's talk about that. And this is with the Agent Builder. So the first stage is to create your prompt. And so this would be what I would recommend with this is to use Prompt Coach. Right? And so this sets your goal. What is your goal? And that's the big thing, right? And with the prompt, when you specify a goal, there's no more to that than that, right? You need context, you need source, you need to know like how do you want that to look like? So that's creating your prompt. The second is then to use the prompt and create your agent. And then the third stage is to essentially, what's that word I'm looking for? Not edit it, to finalize it. So finalize and publish the agent. So let me demonstrate this. So I'm going to open up my portal. So right here, when I scroll down, you can see in here, I've got agents. And so this is right here. Sorry, keep clicking the wrong button there, is where I can go in and create a new agent. But don't start there. That's the best. That's the worst thing you can do. Well, I wouldn't say the worst thing, but I wouldn't recommend doing that. What I would recommend is start here. Start at your prompt coach, right? If you don't see it, then all you got to do is click more agents. And again, you need a license for this, and then search that. If you don't have a license, and so you're the example of Diego, and you still want to create the agent, that's fine. You can click on here and go new agent, and then you can use this to create your prompt. But I prefer, if you've got a license, to use the prompt coach. The prompt coach is very complex, not the word complex, it's not quite the word, but it'll give you a very filled out prompt. And here, let me show you what I mean. So I want to create an agent that is an exam simulator. And exactly that's what I'll say. And so remember, when you create prompts in Copilot or ever speak to Copilot, it's like speaking to what I like to call a child. So you have to be really, really descriptive in what you want. So I'm going to say, can you create me, and don't worry about spelling because it doesn't care, a prompt that I can use to create an agent. This agent will be used for an exam simulator. I want the exam simulator to be very similar to Microsoft certification exams. Give me an example of certification AZ-104, and I'm going to hit enter. So when I do that, it might come back and ask me a couple questions just to clarify things, like where's, because I didn't give it a source. I just said, just do AZ-104. And so it might come back and say, well, do you have any sources? So now let's see what it says. So here it comes. So how do you want the simulator to behave? For example, a full-time mock exam, one question at a time interactively, or explanations. So I want a full-time mock exam, and I'm going to say A, right? And then I hit enter. And so now it'll create the prompt. Here's the other thing too, is that you saw the other choices, like one question at a time, explain only after the exam, blah, blah, blah. You can always modify your agent at any time before you run it to support these other behaviors as well. But initially, I want it to create this one. Now it says I need context. So should this agent act as a strict exam readiness for people preparing? Yeah. So I want a readiness simulator. Exactly. Yeah, I can show my first prompt right there. Here, let me copy that. I'm going to paste it right in the chat for you. There you go. You should see it in a second here. So that was the first prompt that I did, and I said, that's what I want. And so now, wow, it's asking me a lot of questions. Normally the prompt coach isn't this bossy. Usually it figures it out. Okay, so now you can see, and this goes to show you that if I would have done this in just a regular prompt and not use prompt coach, I would have been sitting here with the wrong information. So this is why I always recommend to use prompt coach first, because it really helps you get that goal, context, and expectations. So the source, official, yes. So we want ones from number one, yes. So you choose option one for the official Microsoft Learn alignment. And we want to do this because, the Microsoft certification exams are based on Microsoft Learn's alignment. So this is where I'm going to go. And so now I finally get my prompt. And look at it. It's quite large. So could you imagine trying to write this and get the agent to build this? You would be going back and forth. I'm going to copy this code, and I'm also going to share it in the chat here so you have access to it. Is it not pasting? Hold on. Copy code. Control V. Oh, it's not pasting. Interesting. I wonder why. Paste is plain text. Yeah, it won't paste. Anyway, here I'll see if I can share. I'll share it in my LinkedIn profile later. So now I can go in and I'm going to say new agent. And here's all you have to do. Describe the agent you want to create. And now I can either skip to configure or I can throw it in there. Right? And so I'm going to actually go skip to configure because I'm familiar with how agents work. And when I click on skip to configure, here's essentially the instructions. And that is the prompt that I just created. So all I need to do is paste that in there. And so there's my prompt. I need to name it. And so I'm going to call it exam simulator. And I'll put Microsoft. And I'll say, this is Microsoft exam simulator. Like that. And just go like that. Now I can test it. I can, make any changes. And here's the other thing too, is that you can always edit your agents afterwards, right? I can always go in here and make changes to any of this. Now all I need to do is just create it. And I go create. And so now it creates my agent. The one you have to be aware with agents is agents, and using agent builder, that is, you cannot schedule it, right? So agent builder allows you to run them based on your trigger, right? So manually. So now if I go to the agent in here, I can now say, do it. That's all I have to do, right? Just say go or do it. And now it's going in and doing that simulator. And it's warning me, it's telling me, are you ready? And then now I go, yes, I'm ready. And here we go. And so now it's actually running through and doing an exam simulator. I do this every time I have to take a Microsoft certification. Ilgar and I were MCTs, and I don't know if any of you on the call are as well, or just even, keeping up with your certifications. This is a very common thing you have to do. So every time I have to take an exam, I run a simulator in an agent simulator. And then what I do a lot of times, so once you create it, you'll see it over here. So now I've got it over here. And what's kind of cool too is I can pin it. And so now that it's pinned, oops, that was my other one. No, that's right. So you can see I've done this demo bit. So now that it's pinned, if I want to go in, I can always edit it. And so one of the things I can do is when I go in, oh, that was weird. Hold on. It went to a new agent. That was weird. Let me go in and edit again. There we go. So now once you edit it, I can always change this. So in here, what I would recommend is just do a Control A, Control Copy, go into like Notepad. Oops. And then let's say you're studying for a different exam. So then I would do Control V and then do a Control H and then say, what if I'm studying from AZ-104, replace it with, Control A, AZ-305, right? So now I'm replacing this all with a different exam. And then I can copy and paste that and then run that simulator. So this example, I just wanted to quickly show you an example to create an agent. Now, this example might not be the best agent because, it's only good for one type of exam, which is the AZ-104. And this shows you even more that agents should be run, when you run an agent, you shouldn't have to always tweak that agent, right? So this might not be the best example. Like, for example, I might go in and I've got other agents in here. So yeah, there is unresponded message. So in here, if I edit this, you can see this agent, I just run it. I can run it every couple days and it'll tell me to look for any messages that are older than 14 days that are currently unresponded. And it'll look in my Outlook and let me know. So this is a handy agent that I can run often whenever I need to say, oh, you know what? Did I respond to all my emails? I'm not too sure. And then do that. So that's a quick look on agents. The other thing I really wanted to show you, and I'm looking at my time here, is notebooks. Now, don't get notebooks confused with the fact that they're OneNote. They are based on the same technology, but they are not OneNote, right? And when you create pages, so in here, you can create a page. Like, for example, I can go to any of my chats and I can create pages. Pages are not OneNote pages. They're actually loop pages, if you're wondering about the underlying technology. So what are notebooks for? Well, I actually have a fun notebook over here. I'm doing a road trip in October. And so what I've done is I've created this notebook. And any time I do any research about my road trip or I have any documentation about my road trip, what I do in here is I add it. And so you can go in and you can add any references to your notebook. You can also create any pages to your notebook. And here's real two great things about this. One, I am now have my own chat in this notebook. So this chat, Copilot chat, is grounded to the content that's just in this notebook. That's a huge thing for project management. So if you have a project that you're running with a bunch of people, create a notebook, put all your references and your pages in that notebook, and then you can work in Copilot chat within that notebook and it's grounded. And then the other big plus is I can share this. So now I can share this notebook and we can collaborate on it. I'll give you another example of a notebook. Let me go back over here. So again, notebooks and oops, here. It's because I'm stuck in here. Sometimes the UI gets stuck. No, not Microsoft UIs. They never get stuck. Yeah, I don't disagree with that comment. Think of notebooks as more of collaboration on a grander scale. And what I mean by that is the collaboration that you can do in a notebook can use many different types of references. I'm not familiar with Chat GPT or Claude projects. I've never really worked on that. So I can't really, I don't know if anybody else would be able to respond to you, but I look at notebooks as, for example, let me see. I have one called MCT Community. It is part of Copilot. Yes, Casper. So yeah, when you go into, and you can actually, I don't believe the free version. Yeah, the free version does have it too. So the free version does have notebooks, but you're right in assuming it's actually part of Copilot. So it's not OneNote, it's notebooks. And then with the notebooks, you can go in, and the main thing with the notebooks, and I'm trying to get this to pin because normally it can pin. Let me see if I can get it to. No, it won't. No, with the whole thing with it is I can add anything in here. So let's say this MCT community. Well, I'm going to also add https aka.ms MCT lounge. So that's something that our MCT community has. Sometimes it won't find it. I think it's not finding it because it's a gated community. But if I go in, I can add all of these different references. I can add meetings in here. I can add all different files. So I can add, multiple different files in here. And so when you add all of this references and this content in here, what that does is it allows you to work with all that content and references. And so now I can go in and I can say, based on my references, what should I be working on to support the growth of the MCT community? And because this chat is grounded to my MCT community work, it's going to look at everything that I've done and everything based on those references. And it's going to give me feedback and go, here's what I recommend you do next, and so on. And then, like I said, the big thing is I can share this. All right. So all of that. Yeah. Oh, Gemini? Gemini's Google, right? Yeah. I'm a Microsoft employee. I don't use Gemini, but I know what it is. But you're right. It is a different. Gemini is like Copilot, if you think about it, right? Gemini, Copilot. I don't know what AWS is. I can't remember. It's not coming to my head right away. But yeah, this tool though is really great for notebooks, and it's great for personal too. So if let's say you have family event coming up, like you have a picnic that you're going to be running next year, and you're having all your family relatives there. If they're technically inclined, though, the only thing is, right? Trying to explain to a family how to use notebooks, but you can share everything in here. Share your photos, share events, share everything, and then people can sit here and chat. And well, they can't chat with each other, but they can be able to search and everything in here. So now in here, you can see it tells me the plan stays the community. Here's what you should be doing. And it goes through and it gives me, what success should look like, and going through, and it's looking at that. And now I can say, well, create me an action plan. And so it's doing this all based on everything that it's connected over here, all my content, which there's not much, but based on that. Yeah, they are. Yep. You can see, Celia, if you go into, this is Microsoft 365 Microsoft, but this is not licensed copy. So you can do that. Now, I think too, if I'm going to open up, I'm just opening up my Chrome here because it's not connected to my corporate account. And if I go to copilot.microsoft, I don't think notebooks are in here. No, they're not. So it has to be a Microsoft 365, either personal account or license account. But as you can see in here, just the copilot.microsoft.com, which is just free to everybody, there is no agents or notebooks. So yeah, there's that. Gotcha. Sorry. But hopefully you all work for a company that has, some type of Microsoft 365 subscription. So it can even be a simple E5, which is a simple license, and then you should be able to at least see notebooks and agents, but you might not be able to see all the agents. Oh, and there's Gemini. And that's all I had. Any other questions?
Um, Actually, I don't see any question, but if anyone has question, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Oh, I do see the question, can agents be shared at the organizational level or with specific groups? Both. Yeah. You can definitely, like when I go in and I share, and this is a tenant that I have, I can go in and I can search any name, right? And then in here, if it finds the name, it'll be able to find it. Where's Maria? I thought Maria was there. Can't find anybody. But yeah, here, I'll show you my corporate one. It's fine. I'm not sharing anything that I shouldn't be. So this is my Microsoft corporate one. And when I go into, let me go into the chat, unpin, and go to notebooks, and I'll click on one. I got my Copilot handout, so this is what I do. So now in here, when I click on share and go invite and manage members, I'll be able to find people across my network. So Maria is a colleague of mine that teaches in Sweden. So that's pulling right from the corporate gal. So you'll be able to do that. And security groups, I think it does that too. Whoops, I didn't mean to invite her. Oh, well. But yeah, you can also do, you can see it by email, name, or group as well.
There is one more question, Sarah, in the chat from Paris
Yep.
and Sylvia.
Is there an
Is there
option
any
at admin level to push a user-created agent firm-wide? Yeah, you would need Copilot Studio. Copilot Studio is the third one that I showed. So this is Copilot Studio is where you can create agents and publish them to your company. And then you can get that across your company. Copilot, what I just showed you with agents and pushing agents, this one right here, let me show you again. So when you go into here and do agent builder and create your own agents, these you can share, but you share them individually to users. And in any, you could say anyone in your organization or specific users as well. Publishing agents is, it depends on the agent, right? So if you're using Agent Builder, then essentially you just create it and then you just go create, and that publishes it for yourself. And then you can share it to whoever you want. But Copilot Studio, if you're familiar with Power Apps, it uses that type of publication, I guess you can say, level. So you would use environments and you would create different environments in your company, and then you can publish them to different environments. And then setting the permissions on that as well. Foundry, same thing as Copilot Studio. Similar. Yes, you can, Nerman. Yep. Yeah, you definitely can. You can go in, like I said, right here. Now you need a Microsoft 365 minimum license. It doesn't have to be a Copilot license, but you will need a Microsoft 365 license, but not a Copilot. And you can see you can create an agent that way. Yeah. Great questions.
Yes.
Prompt coach, you need a full license. Yeah. You can see right here, this person, Diego, he doesn't have a license, so he doesn't have any of those agents. Whereas I have a license, so I get all of those agents, researcher, analyst, and prompt. Yeah. Because these are Microsoft created agents. And so when you purchase the Copilot license, we give you these extra agents with that license. Yeah. But Nerman, just another quick thing is that you can always go into Copilot and say, I need help creating a prompt. You don't necessarily have to use Prompt Coach, and Copilot can help you, right? Like you don't have to necessarily, this one obviously is better to use, but I can just go to the new chat and say, can you help me create a prompt for an agent? And it will be able to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Are there any question? Yeah, I hope there is no question. So, um, so I would like so can we conclude our meetup, Sarah? Or
I think we're done. Yeah, this was fun. Thank you for the great questions, and I hope you got something out of it. I will stop
thank you,
sharing.
thank you, Casper. Thank you, everyone, for joining and participating and supporting this event. I highly appreciate it. And the link that where we live stream this session is going to be also shared with you via meetup group, so you will get this link as soon as this meetup ends. Thank you once again for your participation and for your time, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Sarah was my MCT community program manager. We have met for 2 times in Redmond. I hope we are going to meet
Oh,
next year also. So thank you. So with your permission, I would like to end our session and see you in upcoming sessions. Thank you.